Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, and today I'm going to review this Corsair VS550 power supply. Now, I did a review of this thing, the exact same power supply, the VS550 last year, and it's installed in my media box PC. Now, a lot of you guys asked me how this power supply has held up because I did that review like a year ago. Now, this power supply has held up just fine. Now, this PC is my media box PC. It usually sits outside in the dining room area because it's connected to my TV, and also I use this computer as a media server. Now, as far as the specifications are concerned, this computer has a Sandy Bridge i5 CPU that is paired with an NVIDIA GTX 770. So this power supply is more than capable of powering all these components, and of course it's liquid cooled so that the noise levels are down whenever I'm watching a movie. Now, I usually don't game on this computer, maybe once or twice in a month because this is my media box PC, but the computer is turned on 24/7, so this computer does remain powered on all throughout the year. And so far so good, the VS550 has held up just fine. You can see this computer is powered on right now and it's working just fine. No issues whatsoever. The computer is completely stable. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna unbox this and we'll compare these two because there is a slight difference between these two. This one has 7 SATA connectors versus 4, and this one has 4 molex connectors versus 2 on the new 550. And also I think this one can output more amps. So we'll unbox them and we'll see, we'll take that out. And the VS550 is rated at 550 watts, same as the old VS550. Now you guys might be wondering why the heck have I bought this power supply while this one is working fine. That's because I need the old power supply as a project power supply because I have this thing lying around. Yes, the old Pentium 2 PC. Now I want to bring this computer back to life, so we'll just use the old power supply. And also I have some other projects in mind, so we will use the old 550 for those projects and we'll use it to power up the old computer. And I also get to install and review the new VS550. So let's go ahead and begin. So here's the box, guys. Let's check out the different cables that comes with the power supply. So we have one ATX connector, we have the ATX 12 volt connector for the motherboard. We have 2 PCIe 8-pin connectors for the graphics card, so 2 of them, and this motherboard connector is also an 8-pin connector. I think you can separate these out for, you can either make it a 4-pin or you can make it an 8-pin connector. Then we have 7 SATA connectors and 2 molex connector and 1 floppy disk connector. And the older power supply had 4 SATA connectors and 4 molex connectors. So now we have 7 SATA connectors and 2 molex connectors. Doesn't matter though, I still have molex connectors free on this PC, and I think it's a nice addition that we now have 7 SATA connectors. So connect more hard drives. Now let's check out the amp rating versus the old one. So this new power supply, the new version of the 550, can deliver 44 amps at 12 volts, and the older one was capable of delivering 42 amps at 12 volts. And at 5 volts, 18 amps, check here. 5 volt 20 amps, and 3.3 volts 24 amps, 3.3 volts 18 amps. So this one can deliver more current. And also I have this little project lying around, this 500 watt Sony power amplifier, and I think this one, the old power supply, will make a good candidate to power this thing and hook up a subwoofer to this thing and enjoy some tunes. So again, that project is for another time. Right now I want to resurrect this thing. This thing has been lying around since like 2 weeks over here. So inside the box, first off you get the power supply, you have the documentation, you have some more documentation, you get 4 screws, you have the power cord, this is the UK type power cord, then some silica gel. Now I'm gonna flip this power supply over like this. Oops. Yeah, this thing is quite heavy. It's even heavier than the older VS550. And that's the fan. You have Corsair branding here on the back of the power supply. So this side goes on the back of your computer. So let me just take that out and then we'll compare these cables. And man, look at these nice braided cables. Now I've taken out the old power supply, and you might be able to tell that the newer power supply, the newer Corsair VS550, is slightly more compact than the old one. It's a little bit of difference in size, but that shouldn't affect the installation process because the thickness is the same. And another difference here is that the weight of the newer VS550 is quite a bit more than the old one. So this one is much heavier compared to this one. And from the looks of things, I was trying to look inside both of these power supplies, and it looks like Corsair is using better components on this one. Now it's very difficult to see inside these like this unless I open up the top cover, but just from the look of things I can tell that the newer one is better built. And do you see that bridge rectifier there? It now has a heatsink. The bridge rectifier on the old power supply does not have a heatsink. And generally, just by looking inside the fan, I can tell that the newer one does have better quality components. The board is more dense on the newer one compared to the old. But yeah, the real test of these power supplies is inside the PC when the computer is running. And here's another side-by-side comparison. You can see the difference in length here, but the thickness of the power supply is exactly the same. So shouldn't be any issues in installing these. And also take a look at how clean the fan is. Even though this power supply was turned on for about a year, the fan is spotless. That's because this case has a little dust filter on the bottom here. Alright, let's quickly check out the different connectors of this power supply. We have the connector for the graphics card. These are the 8-pin connectors, PCIe 8-pin connectors, 2 of them, so you can connect a nice big graphics card. We have the motherboard connector, the CPU connector, the connector for the CPU power, and I think you can actually separate this. I'll need to separate this because this motherboard has a 4-pin connector, so I'll do that in just a moment. Then we have the main motherboard connector. Again, you can separate this, you can detach this, because if you were to install in an older PC, for example, if I was installing this power supply in that, I will need to detach this part here because that's a smaller motherboard connector there. Now coming to the hard drive connectors, let's see this. We have 2 molex connectors, we have 1 floppy disk connector, we have 1 SATA connector here on this cable, and then these 2 cables have 6 SATA connectors. So this power supply has 2 molex connectors and 7 SATA connectors. Awesome. Alright, take a look at this. This is hilarious. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 hard drives. So one of them is disconnected. So the old 80 gigabyte hard drive is disconnected, and rest all of them are connected. And so I'm using 6 SATA ports here, SATA power ports, and 1 SATA port is being used over here. This is for the Corsair liquid cooler, the H80i. And yeah, all of these power connectors are used up, so I don't have to use all of these now. So disconnected them, and I have to plug in the another power cord here. This is for the NZXT fan controller. So yeah, this thing has a ton of hard drives. So this is the one that is not connected. This is an old 80 gig hard drive, so no use of this. Hey, we have power. You can hear the hard drives clicking. Hey, we have display, so that means everything is working fine. Everything is working, so let me see if any air is coming out. So a very gentle breeze is coming out from the power supply, so that means the fan is working. I mean, these power supplies are almost noiseless. The noise of the fan is coming from the graphics card, and this one, not even this one. I think it's not even the fans on the graphics card, but actually these all of these 6 hard drives make more noise than the fans of this computer. So what I'm gonna do now is log in, play some games. Right, so it has been 2 days since I installed the new power supply, and I have been playing some games, doing some testing, and it seems like the computer is completely stable. I haven't had any crashes, no problems whatsoever, and the power supply runs ice cold. Doesn't even seem to get warm under load. The fan is running on minimal speed, but as of now the computer is sort of under load. I'm just running Doom. So 89-90% GPU usage. So this thing is drawing quite a bit of power. Yeah, it's quite warm. But this is the NVIDIA GTX 770, and this is a 650 watt power supply. But take a look at this. On NVIDIA's website, they kind of specify, now this is for the GTX 770, they specify that you need at least a 600 watt power supply. And I'm kind of using it with a 550 watt power supply. It seems to work. Might be they're calculating with a more beefier CPU. This is just a Core i5, Sandy Bridge Core i5, so that's a pretty old CPU. But anywho, my computer is running fine, it's stable. And I think that's it for this review, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below, and I will be more than happy to answer you guys and let you guys know how the power supply is doing. So concluding thoughts, the Corsair VS550 is a good power supply, especially for its price. And if you buy one of these during sale on Amazon, you can get it really cheap, just like I did. And if you want to know anything, and if you want to buy this power supply, my Amazon affiliate link is down in the video description. So I bought this from Amazon. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. I'll be more than happy to answer you guys. So thank you for watching. Do stay tuned for more videos like these, and I will see you guys next time.